Thank you.
Here we go. I'm Renee Hobbs at the Media Education Lab, and today you're joining me and Florian Voigt, who is going to be talking about skill building through local news. In general, the way we work here is Florian's going to talk for about a half an hour, and then we're going to have some time for discussion. Florian, thank you so much for your patience, and I'm so sorry again for my tardiness, but we're all looking forward to what you have to say.
All good. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. So I think we hop right in. I think we want to start maybe just with a big welcome, just checking in how everybody is doing. So how are you all today? We already know from Renee it's sunny where she is. How is everybody?
Great.
All good? All good. I just hop over to start sharing the. Oh, me.
I see people from a lot of different fields and disciplines, Florian. That's the cool thing that I notice, right?
That's perfect. So the webinar today is really about skill building through local news. So my name is Dr. Florian. I'm the founder of Thinking Habitats, and I'm a professor for educational psychology also. So I've been over 20 years in teacher education, and my favorite place to be is in the real classroom and to really see what works for teachers and young people who want to make a difference in the world and in the classroom. So overall, I just want to pick you all up with a student quote. This is from a 9th grade student who participated in our Thinking Pro curriculum unit. And so she wrote at the end, I learned how to really dig into an article and analyze the different sources and explanations. I learned how to think critically. I think this program really unlocked a part of my brain that I did not know that I had. And of course, that was just a wonderful quote for us to get as researchers, as developers, and of course, as educators, that we really made an impact even beyond what a student had expected participating in our unit. In a nutshell, Thinking Pro uses local news media as a tool to teach critical thinking, reading, communication skills in a student-centric, teacher-supported learning environment. And just to lead with the graphics, this is pretty much how it looks like. So we have in green, so this is the curriculum design. So we have in green the foundation, the main component that builds a personal cause and a motivational hook to really, or young people to really engage in local news and in local citizenship. So the idea is that we ask students, hey, go out and find a cause that really matters to your age and to your life, and to look into your community. And that is already often a challenge for students because they are very classroom focused. They might even be thinking around the school, right? But really to think from school beyond the campus, into the community is often a challenge. So really want them to think about what's going on in your community and why does it matter to you? And it's really also about that when we deal with local news, that students often, or news in general, that students say, we don't like to read, reporters lie through their teeth, and there's nothing in the news that matters to my own life. So creating this personal cause, or finding the personal cause and tying it into the local community really creates a fantastic, strong motivational hook here. And that is the willingness then for students to engage in the reading and in the critical thinking. And those are difficult cognitive skills to acquire and to practice. So we really do need that cause. We really need that motivational hook. So throughout the curriculum, students then participate in small group discussions, self-authorship assignments, and media mindfulness activities to really help promote and sustain that motivation. And then you can see here in blue, this is development of skills. So Thinking Pro is really a skill builder, a cognitive platform to develop critical thinking, reading comprehension, communication skills. So we have here 20 different videos. Each video is dedicated to a specific reading or critical thinking skill or communication skill. And students interact with the videos. They go through the videos a couple of times. They get feedback. They get a proficiency score. It's a little bit gamified. So the idea is that students really, at the beginning of the unit, are being upskilled with respect to their ability to extract information and to evaluate information from news text. And then here in red, so we follow up then really with practicing or the application of those skills. And so, as you know, students start reading now the local news, based on the topics or causes they have identified. And at the same time, they try already to practice those skills that they learned in those interactive videos. And there are a couple of reading and writing assignments too, to really foster deep learning and also the communication and data integration, multiple document analysis skills that students really need. And so when they have worked through a couple, well, we say 3 to 4 articles about their cause, then it's time for them to engage into a capstone project. And the idea here is that students write a short essay where they now integrate that information from their 3 to 4 news articles into one cohesive essay. And they do this based on the facts and explanations that they have found and the reliable sources and the trustworthy content that they have identified using those critical thinking skills. And in addition to the essay, they also create an artifact, and that is like to help students illustrate their cause. So it's not only academic writing, but it's also something creative. And so they can do, for example, a poem. They can do a bumper sticker campaign. That's my favorite one. Scientific infographic, letter to a governor, things like that. So we really target here to many different abilities or talents, multiple intelligences here to help students really round out their writing and really help with that communication piece. This is my cause. This is why it matters to me. I wrote something up, but I also wrote a poem about it. I sent a letter to the governor, things like that. And so we also then test with pre and post to really see how students have improved over time. And this has been implemented like it is in Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky, New Jersey. We are right now also in Germany and in Eritrea in Africa. So we are all over the world, we are expanding. So it's really nice how the international community and classroom teachers are picking up on this. It is aligned with all standards for high school level and middle school level. I'll make this quick. And those are the skills, as I mentioned earlier to you, it's about cognitive skill building. And so we have here 7 reading strategies. They follow the flow of how a student would typically process text. So like you start out with identifying a goal, why you read, and then you activate your background knowledge pertaining to the topic. And then you work your way through the article. And at the end, you check for internal logic, make inferences. So those are the very typical reading strategies in the sense of reading to learn, right? To extract information. And then you see here on the other side, our thinking strategies. There are actually 13, so we get a new set of 5 this summer. that are more advanced. But you can see here, we start out with identify W questions, then we look into the claim and evidence, and that's what you really need to figure out if you are dealing with facts, opinions, explanations. And then you can see, well, it's getting more advanced and advanced step by step. And this is where we got the funding for from the federal government to really create interactive videos that adjust to students' ability levels, to student learning pace. They track students' proficiency scores, they are interactive, they're really best practice. Students learn the skill, we model the skill, and within the video, students apply and practice the skill. And so it's a little bit gamified, very engaging, like a long music video in length, I guess. And it works very, very well. And this is where we got the funding and where's all our research and development around. And this is the heart of it. So the videos speak or explain, introduce here our thinking pro system. And I just want to walk you through this briefly. This is a flow chart. It's a cognitive script. It's a step-by-step guide on how to read, extract, and evaluate information in a way that's light enough that students can keep it in the back of their mind while reading text, but also effective enough to figure out what's the content, but also what's the quality and the reliability of the content by figuring out or differentiating the content into facts, opinions, and explanations. So we were really in the research process looking for something, cognitive scaffold, step-by-step guide, light enough to memorize, to keep running while you read in the back of your head, while also being effective to differentiate between facts and fiction. And so you can see we have first differential is content-based, content-driven. So all the who, what, when, and where questions are considered simple statements. In the news, we would trust the journalist and say this is often supported by observable evidence or images, things like that. And if it's supported with evidence, hey, we have a factual statement. And if such a simple statement is not supported by evidence, then it would be an opinion. And then here on the other side, we are going to the why and how questions. And we consider this content really, it is about complex claims, cause and effect, problem solutions, or normative reasoning is behind those why and how questions or why and how content in the news articles. So when students come across those, we are going to say, hey, here you do need to make your homework or do your homework and really dig deeper into, can you identify the cause and effect? What is the data that is supporting it? What's the quality of the sources? What's the reliability of the author? And if it is not supported, then it would be an opinion again. And if it is supported, it would be an explanation. So this is the model, right? The cognitive script that we use for students. And the videos are really built around this, as you can see. So we start out here with the W questions, then it's about claims and evidence, and then they can differentiate between facts, opinions, and explanations. And with this system comes an annotation system, so that we ask students to copy and paste the online news text into a Word document or into a Google document, and then they go in and annotate it. And we ask them to use square brackets to insert W questions. We ask them to underline claims. That would only happen if it's a why and a how, right? Just like here. Then we ask them to bold evidence. Again, that can happen here on the factual side or on the factual side or on the explanation side. And then at the end, they need to do the classification and mark it up with F for facts, O for opinions, and E for explanations. So it's a annotation system that's really directly aligned with that cognitive scaffold. And that's the magic here. And here's an example for you. You see the news text here, and in purple, I marked it up, or I annotated it for you. So the beginning of the article is about the who, and then it's a little bit about the when, the who, the when, and then you can see here there's a how. So if it's about the how, right, then you would need to go in and start digging or looking for the claim. There is indeed a claim here. And then you can see we also found a fact, evidence that we bolded here. And so if you follow your flow chart here, so it is about the why and the how, it does have evidence. So it would be an explanation. And so the student can put a big E here at the side. And here's a counter example. Yes, it is about the how. So it is more complex claim, but there's no support. So nothing is bolded. So it would go like this: W questions, why and how, no evidence, opinion. And so the student marks it up with an O. And so now you can picture what I described earlier to you, that students read 3 to 4 articles or more, and they mark them up just like this. So when they get ready to write their essay, when they approach their capstone experience, they can really put those articles next to each other or have them digitally in one file, and they can really pick the credible and trustworthy, reliable information in the text to create that little essay about their cause. So they would pick something out of the E section here, and they probably will skip something out of the O for opinion. And so for us, the idea was really to build something reliable, unbiased, and nonpartisan for teachers, so that students actually pick the topic on their own. It's not the teacher. And the teacher is giving them a toolbox for critical thinking. Those are the interactive videos. This is the flow chart that you see here. So students have the skills, right? So they can go in, analyze, evaluate, integrate that information they want to work with. So there's no political standing in here from a teacher or a value framework from a teacher. It's really about the students pick their own topic, read about it, analyze it, and they will see on their own, this has a lot of evidence, a lot of facts, a lot of explanation, or maybe it is more opinionated. And so students can figure that out on their own. They pretty much see it here on paper or on their digital analysis using this annotation system. So it's a pretty safe, reliable process for teachers to teach media literacy in their classroom. Yep. I wanted to show you just a snippet of a video. Let's see. Nope. I need to go here.
Thinking strategy 2, identify claims. I'm Taylor, and I'm going to walk you through this thinking strategy. Click next when you're ready.
So this is one of the critical thinking videos. We have 4 different pedagogical agents. This is Taylor. We have different ones, different gender, different ethnicities. We picked young professionals so students can relate to them, but we also wanted to have a little bit of authority here. And so Taylor in this scenario or in this video is going to walk us through with voiceover and immediate feedback. Students can turn off the voiceover if they'd like. There is also closed captioning, and its screen reader has screen reader capabilities. So we did a really good job with ADA compliance.
Now, what does it mean to identify claims? Here's a definition for you. When you identify a claim, you are looking at an assertion about why or how something happened or should happen. For instance, it might describe a cause and effect or make a case for solving a problem. You can also ask yourself while reading, what kind of claims is this article making about why or how something happened?
So this is just to give you an idea of the voiceover and how it works, but we are pretty focused on following best practice. So what we are doing here, we are first developing meta knowledge about this tool or the skill of identifying claims. So students get a pretty academic definition, but they also get an easy takeaway question. I'm going to silence Taylor now, 1 second. And then here in this slide, she's introducing students to the meta skill of this, or meta strategy. So how does that skill work and why is it helpful? So it's all at that meta cognitive level. So students know, okay, this is the hammer, this is the tool, this is how it looks like, this is what you do with it, this is the purpose. And now the next step is really, following Bandura of modeling best practices, really to demonstrate to students how to apply that skill.
All right, let's zoom in on the last paragraph of this article. I underlined a claim there about something that happened. Let's look a little closer. It says, Stubby on parade is a gorgeous spectacle. Now, why is this a claim? Well, this goes beyond just making a simple statement about who, what, when, or where. It is making a claim or a judgment about how Stubby looks. Remember, claims are judgments or assertions that make you want to see more information or evidence to support them. You might say, oh, Stubby looks gorgeous, but how so? You can contrast claims with more simple statements and observations. For instance, the article goes on to say that Stubby wears a leather blanket embroidered with the flags of the Allies in natural colors. So that sentence is not a claim because it is just telling me more details about what people are seeing. We could call that observable evidence because it's right there in the picture for everyone to see. Do you see the difference there? The claim makes a judgment about how Stubby looks, and the other sentence is just a description of what someone saw and what we can all see in the picture. All right, whenever you're ready, click next, and we will look at a different article.
So this is best practice modeling, voiceover, demonstration. And now we are going to move over where the student is going to start applying those skills with some voiceover, and then the voiceover is going to go away step by step. I'm not going through the whole video, but I want to show you one interactive component here. So student needs to read a little bit of text.
Here is the article you just read. It looks a little bit different because I've cut out some paragraphs we're not working with right now. We're going to focus on the numbered areas of the text for this question.
So, and then you need to apply that skill that you just learned. Well, it's identifying claims, and you can select this here and you submit, and you get instant feedback on why that was the correct answer. Despite you picked the right answer, students really insisted on that when we did the research. They went like, yeah, even if I got it right, I do want to know, I want to have that confirmation that I got it right. Maybe I just had a gut feeling, but I do want to know why I got it right. And here's a second question, also on the application of the skill. Identify where here in the text is a claim. And that was the incorrect answer, not quite. So students get instant feedback here too. And then you can see here, this is now the third question. Also with voiceover, I just turned it off, where you're being tested on the meta knowledge. And then you just continue. That's right. And so now the video has an algorithm at this point, and Strong students are going into a practice track where they have more time to rehearse, practice their skills, and students who are weaker, they are going into a scaffolding track with more voiceover, easier examples. And then at the end, both tracks join again in the video, and students are getting a proficiency score that would say not yet proficient, proficient, and above proficient. And then students can take it up 2 or 3 times. And the nice thing is it creates a little gamification effect. Students really do want to be proficient or above proficient, and the teacher or educator can actually see in the dashboard the proficiency score for each student for each video. So this really renders some really nice formative assessment data that teachers can use to really figure out why are essays not well written, or where are problems with students with respect to reading comprehension or critical thinking. Yeah, so this is halfway through a video, and I guess while I'm here, I can show you overall the shell. So we have, for the curriculum unit, we have 14 lessons. They are building up step by step, as you saw in that earlier image of the curriculum design. We are building those critical thinking and reading strategies with the interactive videos, and then students can move forward step by step. So each lesson has like a media mindfulness activity, group discussions. Here you can see 2 videos for the skill building. Here's an assignment where students identify a claim in a news article, and this is about their capstone or their course that they start writing about. Not only what's my course, but also, hey, what's my vision for my course? Where do I want to be in 1 or 2 years? And so the lessons are built really set up similarly. So students get really used to the structures, and teachers like it very much. So there's some routine in what type of activities there are in the Thinking Pro curriculum, but the skills are stepping up with each lesson. Back to the PowerPoint, I guess. Yay, so we did the videos. And I also wanted to talk a little bit about the Capstone project or Capstone experience. So students do identify their cause, write 4 sentences about it. It's not much, but it's enough. And then they write 4 sentences about their vision, where they want to be. Then they come up with a mission or a strategic plan. And then finally, they are also going to talk in 4 sentences about their personal brand. How do they want to be perceived in their community or by their peers when they are working or advocating for their cause? So it's overall like 3/4 of a page, 16 sentences, but that's really what builds that motivational hook for students. Sometimes students struggle really in finding a good cause, and not all local news has a large variety at that moment as a teacher is teaching that unit. So we found the sustainability goals from the United Nations really helpful. So those are 17 goals that matter at the international, national, and local level. And there's always something that students can identify with. And so when you go to that website, you can roll over those tiles, they flip over and they give you a good explanation of what that cause is and why it matters. So it's kind of nice, a really nice synopsis of global causes that matter at the local level. And then students can go out with the search engine, Google News, find local news on that, or they are digging through the online newspapers that we have linked into Thinking Pro. This is just a quick example for you on a capstone from Jamie. So she went for peace, justice, and strong institutions. And what you can read here on the other side is her cause, her 4 sentences, why she thought that was a very important topic to her. Just continue. And so she went for a bumper sticker campaign. So those are all images that the student picked and presented. So we have templates for creating the creating the bumper sticker campaign. It's a PowerPoint template. And so that's what Jamie did. And then here we have Alex. Alex picked climate action, environment and pollution, and what can be done about it. So you can see the cause here on the left side. 4 sentences on why does this matter to me. And then Alex wrote a poem. So you can see the diversity here in what students pick. And since we got started, we added more, and they actually added more. They went like, hey, can we do this? Can we do that? So they started designing t-shirts and all sorts of things, how they just want to get their message out about their cause. It's really fantastic. Robin, also on climate action, this one is on electric vehicles. I go quick here, I apologize. And she wrote a letter to Governor Whitmer. We are here in Michigan. It's where home base is for Thinking Habitats. And so she wrote a letter to the governor. Certainly then as researchers, we get the questions from the principal. Hey, did the student actually send out that letter? We go like, well, that's up to the student and the parents of the student if they want to do that or not. But it really goes down in that area of the C3 framework where, dimension 3 and 4. Dimension 3 is really this analysis, evaluating, integrating, but then we also have dimension 4 with taking action at the local level. And that's what you have here. If it's a poem, bumper sticker campaign, or here a letter to the governor. Here's some feedback from educators. And I need to be quick. But Renee, we started late. And this is my questions for the audience. So when you teach or practice news media literacy, where do you encounter the biggest challenge? So maybe you can take 7 minutes, and I think Renee is going to put you into groups, and then you can discuss this question. When you teach or practice news media literacy, where do you encounter the biggest challenges, either for yourself or when you teach it to somebody else? Is it reliable sources, critical thinking? Is it more about communication or more about culture? The bigger context of in which all this happens.
Okay, that sounds like a really great question. Give me a thumbs up if you understand what's going to happen next. We're going to break into groups. You'll be getting a chance to talk to about 6 other people exploring this question. You might generate questions for Florian, and when we come back together as a large group, we'll address that. Are we ready to go, Florian?
Yes, we are. Sorry, this slide went ahead.
No worries, no worries. The rooms are open. Have a great conversation. We'll see you back here in, I don't know, maybe only about 7 minutes.
Sounds good.
Hey, you're back. Well, this time we really didn't have enough time for a small group conversation, but I hope you got a chance to make a point, make a new friend, and learn from somebody in the room. We have just a few minutes left for some synthesis opportunities. What was an idea in the small group conversation that was meaningful to you that you'd like to share with our whole group? Floor is open.
Oh, God. Everybody has a bias. We all come with our own points of view. Words have bias, even if they mean the exact same thing. So try to remain open.
Yeah, such a huge insight. Language has inherently got a point of view. So that is a huge insight. Erilyn.
I really liked to deal with bias, to look at historic stories, look at the old stories, start with that. And that separates you a little bit and separates the students from what they may be believing now. It just helps. So I thought it was a great way to start.
Great point. Yeah, yeah. Of course, I really loved the idea of students having choice, right? And that part of this initiative, plus the great metrics for measuring progress, just fantastic. Without choice, then my own biases, as I choose students what to read, become too obvious. Martha, you're next.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I thought that the focus on local news was really interesting. And I don't know how many of you saw Roy Wood's speech at the correspondence dinner, but I mean, a big problem with local news is that it gets taken over by larger companies, and then you don't really have good reporting. So here in Rhode Island, you know, the Providence Journal has really depreciated in quality. And I even have trouble struggling to find good news sources. So like that's a dimension of it that I wonder how you would address, because local news is kind of slowly dying out in a way.
Florian.
I think it's slowly coming back. You know, there are so many policies being now done, I guess, that really encourage local news reporting again. So we are partnered with the National Newspaper Association, and those are reporters and editors who own newspapers. So they are saying it's going slowly upwards again. And yeah, it is a challenge, but we want to also always use several news sources, you know, so we can't be called out for just giving one news source, and it would be the not appropriate one, of course, right? So you know, if you give 2-3 news sources, then students can pick. And so we always recommend daily local newspapers, so there's enough content produced over time for students to dig through. And then we beef it up with regional and state newspapers. So there's always enough for them to find.
Cool. So cool. Hey, listen, Florian, will you put your email into the chat? I know that one of the things that really sets you apart from a lot of other academics researching this complicated topic is the way that you've created something that teachers and students can use. And you've built a way of measuring the growth in learning that students experience. And sometimes this topic is done, you know, through worksheets. Sometimes this topic is done in a very informal way, but you've created a beautiful protocol and structure that you demonstrate really makes a difference, that students perceive as valuable and educators perceive as valuable as well. And I can't think of very many scholars who have sort of stepped into the deep end of daily practice like you have. So congratulations to you.
It is the deep end and the cold end of the pool, I tell you that.
Well, we're glad you're in the deep end of the pool and the cold end of the pool. And we're really happy that you are friends at the Media Education Lab also joined us as well. Thank you so much for starting off the week with us, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.